Hello and welcome to today's EMBN Show. We're talking weights and measures, the new gram frame set from Thok. And Martyn has got something on his chest. Or something he'd like to get off his chest.
Oh, I've got the wrong t-shirt on.
Now, to get things rolling on today's EMBN Show, last week Martyn and Chris Akrigg did a video where they showcased the Whyte E160 and the E-Lite in a head-to-head trials competition.
Yeah, well, kind of. It was really interesting though, because I went into it and I really didn't know what bike he would prefer, because he'd ridden the E160 tons.
Yeah.
And then he just got the E-Lite, and obviously that's his first mid-assist power.
And what was the first thing he did in Hookwoods?
Well, but he just smashed the place. It was amazing. But the difference of what he could and couldn't do on those two bikes was amazing. It was a stark contrast, and it probably wasn't how I thought it was going to go. But yeah, it was very interesting. I just think it really showed the difference in being able to rely on the motor, and then the difference with someone like Chris's skill to be able to use a less powered motor. And you really got to be good to get the most out of it, I think.
You have. I think, for me, I was quite startled at the differences in time. So basically, the Whyte E-Lite with Chris Akrigg was 6 seconds faster over a 30-second course.
Yeah.
I've got to say, Martyn, I think it's course dependent, because he was above the 25k.
Yeah.
He's a very strong rider. He can pedal above that, whereas on a full power bike, you're got to get the wheels moving. But I think for me is like what was quite telling when you had the insanely technical climb, the full power bike, that's where it came into its own. And that's where sort of normal riders like myself might be able to use it better, you know?
Yeah, and I was going to say, in the section that we made, it had a climb right at the beginning. And what was sort of unfair to the full power bike is that he couldn't really go up that bit any quicker, but he was using a lot less energy doing it. He just was using the cadence of the bike, whereas it was Chris Akrigg's skill and strength that was getting the E-Lite up there at the same pace.
Yeah, I think
so. It's horses for courses.
I think what Chris Akrigg can do on an e-mounted bike is
that's phenomenal.
Head and above, everyone else in the world possibly. I think maybe Danny McCaskill, you probably
no. I really think there's very few riders who could keep up with Chris on those very technical. I'm gonna take him to an EDR power stage.
Absolutely.
And I think you will see a remarkable difference. It will almost make those guys.
Well, let's park that for a minute.
Toddlers.
Martyn, what I would like to discuss with you is Chris's new hard duro video.
Yes.
Now, for me, I think in as much as it is excellent.
It's incredible.
I love the sound of him and but for me, going over the logs is a little bit like a gymkhana.
Oh my!
I just think it's like way underneath his level of riding. It's like school sports. It's like infant school sports.
Oh, Steve, wait.
The egg and spoon, to me, egg and spoon race.
First off, I mean, it's raw, which is really different. I really like that we're hearing the bike work and you're hearing that's what's going on. I really like that about it. Now, what I think you're missing, right, is it's so hard to really appreciate the size of the obstacles and the difficulty of the terrain when we're watching videos.
Can I just stop? I need to qualify what
How about you can't? How about
no? But I need to.
But how about I say you can't
I'm saying
stop me?
Most of the video is absolutely stunning. It's just the little logs that he's hopping over.
Little logs.
I'm just saying it's the log bit.
They're not little logs for one. They're logs, right? Okay, which is difficult for most people to get over. And it's not necessarily that they're hard to get over. It's the pace that he's riding over them with. And he's riding them deliberately like you would on a motorcycle in a hard enduro. He's chosen a style. He's trying to make the e-bike look that way. And that is genius in itself. I mean, basically, you don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. But for me, there's a log like this, and he comes along the log and he pivots off the tree.
Yeah.
Now that, to me, is showcasing Chris Akrigg.
Yes.
And then he goes from the silly gymkhana logs into the riverbed, and you can hear the sound of the river.
It does get going then. I'm with you.
Going, and you can hear the water. He's up that river and he's... and up that riverbed, right?
I mean, it gets better.
It does get better, and then he goes out into the open mountain, and you can hear the wind, and then it's like really horrible, nasty. And you wouldn't, you know, most people wouldn't take a motorcycle into that environment. Yeah. It's then the level gets up to proper Chris Akrigg standard. Yeah.
It seems like to me that you enjoyed it.
It's not 100%. It was amazing. It's just the hopping over logs.
You're backtracking now. You said off camera, you said it was crap.
I did not say that.
He did, Chris. I
heard him. Chris and Will, I said, it's amazing edit, honestly. The sounds of it.
It is brilliant. It is brilliant. I mean, you're right. It really does ramp up. It gets going. If you haven't watched it, head over to Whyte's YouTube page. You can watch it in full. It's a very cool video.
And if that's not enough for you, Martyn and Chris will be discussing it in detail on EMBN very soon.
Well, a bit of behind the scenes of how he does these videos, and it's quite revealing.
It is.
He's not as engaged with the bike setup as you might imagine.
Now, turning our attention to product, we saw recently Keelan Grant at the e-Enduro World Cup in Finale and his prototype Rotwild R.EXC. Well, that bike is now available in production form, 150mm rear, 160mm travel front. Key information about this bike is the fact that it's got an 820 watt-hour battery, and the bike weighs in at 21 kilos. So
how is that possible, Steve?
It's just, I guess, basically the motors on e-mountain bikes aren't getting that much lighter. It's basically down to the batteries, really.
It's incredible.
You know, the batteries.
820 watt-hour battery.
The thing is, you're not going to worry about fuel you got in the tank. It's you can ride that bike.
You're not going to worry about range at all.
You're not.
No.
There's two versions available. There's the R.EXC Ultra for €11,000, not cheap, and the R.EXC Core for €8,999. So I love the Rotwild bikes. I think they're really classy. And the bike has got a Shimano EP801 motor, and I'm going to talk about EP801 in a minute. Let's look at a few of the bikes we've got this week. We've got the Liteville.
I love the look of this bike.
See, I like the Liteville
I think it's cool.
I think they're really cool bikes. But you know, not everyone is saying that.
And I don't love the name, but it's a cool looking bike. Let's focus on that.
The name being what? The 301C
Well, just the 301CE Mark II. Yeah, I just wish they call it the 301, like they did with Fantics.
Yeah,
that would have been nice.
This is a Shimano EP. This time, this is 24 kilos with 750 watt-hour batteries.
There's the difference, look.
So you can imagine, you guys are trying to make decisions on these bikes, and you've got all these differences in weight. But then this bike is €7,900. Some geometry numbers on here, 64.5 degree head tube angle. C-tube angle is 75.8 and a reach 470 in size large. Talking about Shimano. Now, Shimano have recently launched the firmware update on the EP801 motor. And I actually got this done last week. Obviously, Shimano was nowhere to be seen on e-Enduro World Cup power stages a few years ago, whereas the likes of Ryan Gilchrist on the Yeti team has been pretty much dominating. Anyway, I got to see firsthand why this has happened, and it's simply because of that firmware update. Oh my God.
Does it make a big difference?
It's like, oh my God, this is like a different bike.
But how has the firmware update made that much difference?
So what it's done on many things is it basically gives you more power in boost mode in a shorter space of time. But for me, it's the overrun effect.
So you can lengthen the overrun.
You can lengthen the overrun. You can have short, medium, and long overrun. So, when you're doing technical climbs, you've got like routes and steps. Sometimes you're so tired that you're kind of beaten up, right? That little overrun allows you that split second to readjust your body position so you get the right weight in your front and rear tires and go again. That is the crucial thing. But I won't tell you the speed difference up a 1 minute climb, but it is like pretty massive. But for me, Mart, is the fact that people who bought those EP801 bikes a year ago, they can go into a shop and now within 5 minutes, their bike is transformed. For nothing.
Do you think that'll ever be an over-the-air? They did talk about it. We talked about it on the Dirt Shed Show a little bit.
Subscriptions.
I was looking into subscription. It didn't go down well. The viewers did not like that idea at all. And maybe I'm with you actually, but I do love the idea of a bike improving with software updates, because that's essentially what is happening in the motor vehicle industry.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was amazing that you can download something on your app that would make your e-bike better. That's just brilliant.
Do you know what I love? Like, we used to look like back years ago when we were looking at some of the top trials riders, you know, the likes of, I don't know, did like Lejeune, and they had different mapping on that table. There was a guy with a laptop by the side.
Great big laptop and cables.
Like making changes to the motors to suit the sections, right?
Yeah.
And this could be where e-bikes go, right? Although there's loads of adjustability on e-bikes anyway. But you know, your own little custom setups for your e-bike.
But do you think it will ever be like that? You don't have to take it into the dealer, that you can literally
this will happen. This will happen with the firmware. You can actually do that.
Yeah.
In a few months' time, you will get that firmware update on your phone.
That's wild, isn't it? That's too exciting.
And that to me is why e-mountain biking is so exciting. It brings another level of technology to get excited about.
I mean, it has me just daydreaming about what our experience with our e-bikes will be in the future. I won't geek out on it now because I get caught up in the AI world, and I wonder, will my bike one day talk to me? And is it the same person that will be in my refrigerator? And does he just turn into more mountain bikey when he's on my bike with me, and he's not so nutrition based when he's in the refrigerator? I don't know. Like I said, I should probably not talk about it too much.
I had to put some cheese in the refrigerator on the weekend because it was too hot.
And see, your refrigerator might be thinking, that's enough cheese, Steve.
Yeah. But anyway, we're talking about motors, we're talking about tech. Let's not forget the rider has a huge impact in the ability to ride these bikes. And did you see Tony Bow in Bilstein in Belgium on the recent World Trials?
I didn't.
Getting sidetracked. Olympia Murdok.
Yes, let's have a look at that.
Olympia is an Italian bike. I've been very impressed with the bikes they've been making recently. They've got a successor to their Hammer eMTB, which is the Murdok. Again, it's a carbon frame. This time, it's got the Polini EP3 MX motor. Now, we've talked about Polini on the channel many times. It's the fact that it's a motor you can rebuild yourself.
Love it. You can
which
work
is
on
fantastic.
It. Yeah.
How nice is that bike?
It's really nice. When you compare it to the Hammer, it's got, it's just refined a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah. And, you know, again, 820 watt-hour battery, 180 mil travel.
It's a lovely looking bike.
I think Olympia make banging bikes. Remember, they also do bikes with different motors in them as well. And then one final piece of news for this week's show is the Thok Gram Frameset. Now, Thok actually say that this is the starting point for the creation of a fully customizable carbon fibre Thok, but it's also the only and most complete electric frame set currently available on the market. I'm not sure it is. I'm sure Specialized still do a Canevo SL frame.
I can't get into the website yet, Steve, hang on.
Well, when you do get into the website, you'll be able to see that you can actually customise your frame in different colours.
Do you remember your first day on a computer? I cannot get into this. Why won't Thok let me look at their bicycle?
Oh, for Thok's sakes.
No, that's going to sign me up to their...
Why didn't you go to UK? Look, continue. United Kingdom. Martyn thinks he's in Italy.
Ooh, see, you're stuck. Oh, there we are. We're in.
Hold on.
Stay with us, people.
He was telling me off. Like, how clueless I was just a minute ago. Anyway, like I was saying...
Right, Thok, Frameset, the Gram.
Once you've got onto the Thok Frames website, you can go to the configurator.
Let's do it.
Configurator, and you can choose your different colours.
Oh, look at that view from the top, yeah.
So this bike actually, it says pretty much comes with the frame, the fork, the shock, the seat, the stem, the headset, obviously the motor and the battery, everything except the wheels and the gears. I mean, the price on this bike is this frame set is 6,599 euros. It is a lot of money, but it is a full carbon frame set with an 820 watt-hour battery and 180 mil travel, and it's fully customizable. I think it's a good...
Wow, I've made it look horrible. Yeah, I mean, it's fun to play with as well on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suggest you head over.
But it is
Thok, is it? Not
Thok.
Oh, okay. Thok.
Yeah, and they have actually a yearly get-together where it's called Meet the Thokers. You know Meet the Fockers with Dustin Hoffman, right? Anyway, folks, some fantastic new bikes on the market. And remember, if you got a Shimano EP801 motor, get it down to your local dealer. Make sure you book in first. Maybe clean the bike and charge the battery up as well, and they can do it in 5 minutes, and your bike will be transformed. Right, little bit of feedback now. Steve, can you take it? Try to.
Right, okay. First up, this is on the video where you visited the Bafang factory, see how things are produced. Chris Akrigg, he said, no wonder the Chinese brands are cheaper than other brands. It's the sheer scale of its operations. Buying a Bafang would have put me off before, but after watching the factory operations, I wouldn't hesitate.
No, that's good. That's good. I mean, going to the factory and you see how efficient it is, how clean it is, and how, like, the R&D department, there's literally, there's so many people in there for different parts of the system. And then when we saw like the hub drive just as one part of the factory, it was like they had 7 machines there, which is mind-blowing. But yeah, fantastic motors, powerful motors. We don't actually get to see, like, for example, the 620 motor, which is like 120 newton meters. They can push it to 140 newton meters if they wanted to. But yeah, I'd really like to see more Bafang motors on more bikes out there, and just such a lovely group of people actually as well.
Yeah, it was definitely very interesting to see you go around the factory. Next up, comment on the
your video,
really amazing Whyte Bikes video.
I'll put
me
this,
and Chris Akrigg. Brilliant.
I'll put this on record then, Martyn. I think that's the best mid-drive e-mountain bike video we've ever done on the channel.
Is it the only one you've ever done?
I think it's all about, I do see there's another question about accountability.
Yeah.
I think it's all very well for me and you or people to chat about stuff, and I think we talk about numbers far too often.
Yeah.
Whereas, how does the technology and the rider, and how does that equate to what happens out on the trail?
Yeah, no, it was really interesting.
And whilst allowing you to drink 16 cans of Coke at the same time. Was it Diet Coke or was it normal Coke?
It was Coke Zero, so we were quite safe. We were quite safe.
But yeah, I thought it was a fantastic video. What's the question? Sorry?
MBR Magazine, they said, great to see the e-bike discussion expanding beyond metrics. There are too many people sat around discussing power, torque and battery size and ignoring the most important thing, how the bikes actually ride.
And how the rider rides them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, thanks to Alan and the guys at MBR Magazine for that comment. It means these guys would properly test mountain bikes.
Yeah.
What we got next?
Neil Liston says, low power, low weight, we will be faster on a flow trail as you'll be above the limiter all the time. I say it all the time, certain trails I'm faster on a pedal bike than a 25k e-bike.
It's true.
It is, because I guess you get to the wall in the end.
You do get to the wall in the end.
Yeah. And I mean that in the power delivery, you're going to hit the wall. That's what it feels like.
It's funny
when you get there. It's like, ooh.
It's when I saw Chris Akrigg when he was spinning. He was probably spinning like 100, 120 RPM, but then he gets past the limiter and he can keep spinning at like 100 RPM.
He's strong. He's very strong.
He is insanely strong.
Yeah.
And then there's one more question from Patrick Pointer. Please can you visit some other helmet manufacturers so we can see the difference? Great video, well done. I think, thanks to Louis, the creator on that one. Interesting place.
Yeah, Met Helmets, very cool.
Here's one for you. So do you know Tadej Pogačar won the stage in Nice yesterday, the time trial?
Only just.
I've actually worn that helmet.
Have you?
I've actually put it on. They said, oh, can you be careful with that?
What, the one he won? You've worn the helmet that Pogačar wore in the Tour de France.
Yeah, the guys at Met said, oh, can you be careful of that, as I was putting it on my head.
Oh my God, imagine if you dropped it. Hilarious.
The only one in the world.
Hilarious. And he only just won that by a whole minute. Unbelievable.
Yeah, do you know what? Do you see the descending speed? Pogačar was descending at 96 kph.
Yeah, they are unbelievable riders, they really are.
Right, let's get the Bikevault going, Mart. Now, the important thing about this picture is from Emmanuel Ergel Jungle Peak. Obviously, it's like Himalayas, but this is how quickly things move on in the e-bike world. The high bike Fly-On.
Yeah.
5 years ago, the Fly-On was the showpiece of Eurobike. Now, this bike was the showpiece of Eurobike.
Still, it's pretty good.
I think it's an amazing looking bike, but we don't really see many of these bikes. It's got the HP 120 motor in it. Now, if you look at the size of that motor, 120 Newton meters, and you look at the size of the DJI bike, that's how quickly
it just looks outrageously big. This
bike. I mean, sorry, Emmanuel. I mean, it is a fantastic bike you got, by the way. But this bike is now. This bike was 28 kilos.
Yeah.
Like, the DJI bike is 20 kilos with the same power.
Yeah, it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
In 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, Emmanuel, I've ridden this bike. I love this bike, and it's a super nice from me.
Yeah. It's a nice from me because famously in my house, I didn't love that frame design.
Interesting.
I mean,
in your house,
me and my dog will talk about it all the time. But I didn't love that. But it's nice.
All right. Okay.
It's nice. But Steve gave it super nice,
Theodore, Bears and Trails, my favourite local trail for training. Just watch out for the bears. It's in Transylvania.
Absolutely amazing.
Transylvania.
Is that a real place?
Do you know what?
I just thought it was in the movies.
You were talking about Ben Stiller. No, Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder probably comes from Transylvania. Does he not?
No.
Nice and super nice.
That was a young Frankenstein reference that Steve just dragged into the Bikevault there for anyone who missed it, but I liked it.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave the next person's name to you, Martyn.
Van Rammerherstel.
Van Rijmerstal.
No, it's Van Rammerherstel.
Why don't we ask Marek? What's the pronunciation on this one, Marek?
Van Rijmerstal?
That's what I said, dude. That's what I said.
I think...
let's talk about the bike, shall we?
Let's talk
We've
about
got
the
a
bike,
lovely cube hybrid. It's
big fan of the cube
bikes. Love the colourways. The blues, the orange, the greys. It's a great looking bike. It's not drive side. That's a bit of a downer.
We don't have to go into this. It's still the left-hand side of the bikes, believe it or not, Martyn, in the year 2024, still actually powers the motor. Did you know that? The left-hand side does not do nothing. So that's what you say about drive side and non-drive side. It's bollocks. Sorry.
I just think the drive side's more interesting. But you can see the motor better on the non-drive side. It's true. It's true.
They're both drive sides.
What
about your car? Anyway, we're getting nice or super nice?
Super nice.
Super nice. Danielle, Brecon holiday in Wales, chasing the sunshine in Wales.
Drive side.
Best of luck with that. Drive side.
Pedals at 3 o'clock.
Pedals at 3 o'clock.
We're ringing the bell. That's how easy it is, people. That's how easy it is. Super nice.
That's the Bikevault. And how did you get your pictures in the Bikevault, Mark?
You just head down to the uploader, which is linked in the description down below, and send us your bikes. In fact, send us anything. Give us some info on what you're doing on your e-bikes. Tell us, and you can get involved in the show. You could be here next week, like Van Hirschmandahl.
Okay, just before we head off, folks, some social news. This is Matteo Ruffray, who's an E-Enduro World Cup racer.
EDR.
Fantastic skills there. Next up, Chris Akrigg. Now, this climb, I've actually done this climb with Akrigg.
You have not.
I have done this climb with him.
You watched him do it?
No, I've been up there. Chris will actually comment on the video to say, yes, he's done it.
Did it look like that when you did it?
No. What's that thing that I huffed and I puffed? Well, that's kind of what happened there when I did it.
Next up, Thomas Ola.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Ex-Trials rider.
Dangerous.
Fantastic line.
Dangerous.
That's Trials riders for you. Dangerous.
It is dangerous.
Cool. Yeah. Vibrant.
Yeah. And that's it for this week's EMBN show. Martyn, nice to have that discussion about Chris Akrigg's.
Fun. Thanks for having me. I love it. Love it.
Coming up on the channel this week, we're actually taking a behind-the-scenes look at how waterproof are actually e-mountain bikes. Obviously, there's lots of failures with e-mountain bike motors. We get to see a possible reason why they get so much failure. And then on Sunday, we've got a video which explores the new firmware update on the Shimano EP801. Thanks for joining us, and see you next week.